Are you a gig worker or self-employed? Womply has helped over 100,000 small businesses get a PPP loan. You may qualify for up to $41,000 in 100% forgivable loans. The program ends soon and funds are limited. Apply now at womply.com/apply. That's WOMPLY.com/apply.
Minnesota Vikings fans, welcome back to the Purple People Eaters podcast. This is Aaron Miller, flying solo again. Going to do another mock draft. That's mock draft 2.0. Mock draft 2.0. We had mixed reviews of mock draft 1. Got a lot of feedback. Everybody's saying we don't need a defensive tackle. We just took in Delvin Tomlinson. What are you drafting Christian Barmore for? I went over in the last podcast, the Purple People Eaters podcast, free agency edition. Chris and I discussed a little bit of my rationale of taking Christian Barmore, and I stand by it. But as free agency has gone on, these last couple of weeks, I think some new needs have arrived. Yes, we still do need a 3 technique, but I don't know if it's more pressing than the needs we have on the offensive line at the moment. We need a tackle. We need at least 1 guard, probably 2. Wouldn't mind a center, somebody who can pass block. Obviously, we need safety help, although we did sign Xavier Woods. We still need depth there. We need a corner now, with the news that Jeff Gladney has found himself in a terrible position he put himself into. Thank God for a Mackenzie Alexander signing, or we'd have a huge hole at slot cornerback. At least now it doesn't have to be filled with a rookie. So we have new needs on the board. Whole new situation to look at for a mock draft. So we're going to go ahead and start this mock draft here in a second. You can find this podcast, Purple People Eaters Podcast, on Spreaker.com. That's the home base. You can also find it on anywhere else you find your podcasts. You know, if you listen on Spotify or iHeartRadio or any other place, you can really get it. If there's one that you can't receive it on, just let us know, and we'll go ahead and try to find a way to get onto that platform. But I think we've got most of them covered. So to start the mock draft, I think we're going to go through. I use fanspeak.com. I know there's some different ones out there, and I've thought about maybe switching, but, you know, I guess I'm going to go with what I know. I'm using the draft tech again. It just updated today, so it's a new board updated to the 5th day of April. Last time I wasn't real happy with the board I got because there's some players that were there that probably shouldn't have been in places where I could have picked them, but nonetheless, we're just going to go and pick players. We're not going to prioritize any players. We're going to add in some trades this time, but we'll try to make them reasonable trades or something that's logical that might happen. I'm not going to do 1,000 trades, but if I think it helps the overall draft, I've got no problem with going ahead and seeing what we can explore as far as trades go. Right now, I've got it all set up, and we're getting an offer in. With Indianapolis is offering their first-round pick 21 and their second-round pick 22 for our first-round pick. The New York Jets are offering their first-round pick 23, their third-round pick 22, their fifth-round pick 10, and a future second-round pick for pick 14, which I think that's a great trade. But I think out of what we're doing this draft, don't we want to get a second-round pick if we're going to move around at all? And they're just not offering one. They're offering one next year. So I have a trade idea I want to try. So I think I'm going to decline both those offers, and we're going to do something here. It's going to make you guys all freak out again, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And that is trading out of the first round entirely. That's right, I said it. Out of the first round to pick up maybe multiple second rounders. I think that makes some sense. I have always had a huge amount of respect, I guess you could say, or have really valued second round picks, almost to the level of first round picks. Now, it's a little bit odd to give those up, but let's get a hold of Jacksonville here because they have a couple picks that I want to try to get after, and that's pick 1 and 13. So let's get 1 and 13 in the second round. And maybe throw in your fourth round pick 1. We'll give you our first round pick 14. We'll give you fourth round pick 38. And possibly fourth round pick 29 and see if they like that at all. They accepted it. So we traded 2 lower fourth round picks and our first round pick for pick 1 in the second round, pick 13 in the second round, and fourth round pick number 1. And let's go ahead and just run the first round down here. As the thing's going, a lot of players are going to come off the board. I don't necessarily want to watch it, but I will. Kyle Pitts is still on. Mac Jones is still in there. Watching a lot of guys go that it's hard to watch go, but you want to keep track of what's coming up in the second round. Rashad Bateman goes 14, our pick we gave up. Barmore goes 17 to the Raiders. Tevin Jenkins, the guy I wanted, is going to the Colts. Jason Owe to Cleveland. All right, the round has ended. Now we can get officially busy here. But we gave up our first round pick. And we've got the first pick in the second round. So basically pick 33. We've got some guys on the board here before we start the round. I'm looking at Trayvon Moehrig, Jalen Phillips, AVT is still there. We've got Travis Etienne, Wyatt Davis, Richie Grant, Zaven Collins, Terrence Marshall, Trey Smith is in there. Let's look and see. I'm going to target a guy here that we want either at 1 or 13. That's Landon Dickerson. So let's go to the centers here. Okay, so he's definitely still available. So we don't necessarily have to take him right now. I'm going to go ahead and on this, I think I like Zaven Collins a lot. We've got Barr back on a 1-year deal. I'd say we go ahead and get his replacement, get him in there, a guy we know we can go right away to, and get him trained up. So start the round, pick 1. I'm going to go with Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. Let that go. So the Vikings in the first pick in the second round select Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. So that's kind of our first round pick there, if you will. Now we're at pick 13 in the second round. We've got him. It's time to go immediately the offensive line. I want a tackle, or I want a great or as good a guard as you can get at this point. So I'm going to look down and see just who's available right now in the guard category. See where they're kind of located. So on the top we've got Ben Cleveland, Deontay Brown, Aaron Banks, Sedarius Hutcherson, Jack Anderson, so on. So apparently we've missed out on AVT. We've missed out on the Tennessee kid. For some reason his name all of a sudden escapes me, but we'll go on with it. Now Isa Dickerson was at 62, which we're going to have to take him here because I don't think he'll make it to the third round, although he's technically in that third round range. So we've already identified him. Are we giving up anything that we like a lot? Eichenberg is there as a tackle. I don't know how I feel about that. I want Dickerson. He can play center or guard. He has that flexibility. I'd like to put him in at guard. All right, so at pick 13 in the second round, we've taken Landon Dickerson. So our second round picks are at pick 1, Zaven Collins. At pick 2, Landon Dickerson. We're going to let the round go through. Ellen McNeil's just gone. Tyler Shelvin's gone. Marvin Wilson is gone. Actually, Marvin's still there. But we don't pick in the third round until pick 14. A couple trades are being sent our way. Tennessee wants to give us third round pick 21. And they want third round pick 26 and fourth round pick 14 to move up to 21. And then the Steelers are offering us third round pick 23, fourth round pick 23 for third round pick 14. So we could add a third or a fourth, third and a fourth. I'm going to go ahead and pass on those just because I don't think there'll be time to do some other trades later. Let's start the round. We're at pick 14 in the third. Marvin Wilson just went. We had him eyeballed a little bit. I think we're looking for a tackle here, the best tackle we can find on the board. Because we need to fill that hole as of now. The Orlando Brown thing seems like it might come together, but nobody really knows at this point. Hopefully it does, and that would explain maybe some of their moves in free agency. But as of now, we don't know that. So we have to draft ourselves a tackle. A couple more trades coming in. Round 3, pick 35. Round 4, pick 10. Round 5, pick 35 from the Dallas Cowboys for round 3, pick 14. Or the Patriots want to give us round 4, 15, round 4, 17 for round 3, 26. Now that's a little more appealing. Give up the third round pick, 326, but I think I like the value here you can get in the third. More than that, the Dallas deal is, I just don't, you still get that third round pick, but it's way back at 35. So let's go and decline those. And start to pick here. Pick 14 on the board, right the top of the board is Cameron McGrone, a linebacker, Chaz Surratt, Michael Carter, Baron Browning. Kyle Trask is there. Quinn Meinertz is there. Josh Myers is there. Tanaloa Hufunga is there. And I'm not going to mess around and not take him. I am tempted, though. Very tempted to take Kyle Trask. In this iteration of this draft tech board, he's there, and it's kind of hard to pass up on him. But I mean, I think that's a good flyer for a quarterback, but I want to be able to get Tanaloa as well. So we're going to go and take Tanaloa Hufunga because I think the Vikings would be more likely to do that, and I'm not sure Trask is going to be there. So let's take Hufunga in the third, and I'm not even sure Hufunga is going to be there. So at pick 14 in the third round, the Vikings take safety Tanaloa Hufunga. Big fan of. I would have took him anywhere I could have got him. He's like a mini Eric Kendrick, same kind of energy. Comes out of USC. Another trade offer for our pick at 26 in the third. Seattle Seahawks are offering round 4, round 7, 22, and a couple future picks. The Titans are offering round 4, 21, round 5, 22, round 6, 21, and round 6, 31, which is a pretty good trade. But I like I said, the value. I don't want to give up that third. We can talk a little bit about fourth round picks, though, when we want to trade. So now we're up. Again, we're still looking for a tackle here. Maybe an edge rusher. But I think I want to get a tackle. Spencer Brown out of northern Iowa is up there. But I think I want to grab this kid that I like a lot. Saw his highlights the other day. James Hudson out of Cincinnati. And he's kind of way down the board, so I think we can wait until the fourth round to get after him. So that opens up what we can do here in the third. I like Ronnie Perkins is available here. I'm going to look at receivers. It'd be a good spot with an open pick like this to see what's out there and where guys are lining up. We are going to trade to get some seventh rounders, but I think we'll do that in the fourth round. So a guy like there, I'm going to take one more look for another guy see where he's at on this board. Keith Taylor, cornerback out of Washington. He's at 138. Okay, so we're still kind of got an open pick here. We can trade it, or we can take a player that we like. I like Ronnie Perkins here as an edge rush prospect. Let's just kind of take a look down and see if there's anybody else that sticks out to us in this area. I like Perkins enough to take him here. Baron Browning is there, but like I said, we've taken Zaven Collins. And I think that's probably a little bit redundant. So let's go ahead and take Ronnie Perkins, edge rusher out of Oklahoma. And we move on to the 4th round. Now, in the 4th round, we have pick 1, pick 14, and pick 20 in this draft. And we're trying to get a 7th rounders. Denver's got a load of 7th rounders. I think we're going to try to cut a deal with them with the last pick in the 4th round. So let's go ahead and run this again. We have the first pick in this round. On the board is Chuba Hubbard. We do need a running back. We've got Bobby Brown III out of Texas A&M, Drake Jackson, Pete Warner. I think what we're going to try to do here is maybe go down the board and get a guy that we really want to get before he goes away. And if I can't find anybody in front of him, there's our tackle that we want, James Hudson out of Cincinnati. If you had a chance to see any of this guy's tape, go ahead and find him, James Hudson. I think you'll be impressed as a later round or mid-round tackle. I think he's got all the tools he needs. We'll take James Hudson out of Cincinnati at tackle. That's for pick 1 in the 4th round. I think our next pick's going to be Keith out of Washington. Keith Taylor, cornerback out of Washington, outside corner. Impressed me at the Senior Bowl, so I've kept my eye on him, and I think it's a good place to take him. So we're going to take Keith Taylor out of Washington, pick 14 in the 4th round. Now, the trade offer for pick 20, the Cardinals are going to give us a 5th, a 6th, and 2 7ths for pick 20 in the 4th round. I think that's exactly what we're looking for, so let's take that trade. That's round 5, pick 16, round 6, pick 39, basically a 7th rounder, 7th round, pick 15, 7th round, pick 19. Boom, we accept that trade. So now we're on to the 5th round. We've got 3 5th rounders, 2 6th rounders, and 2 7th rounders. We could maybe turn one of those 5th rounders into 2 more 7th rounders, something that Rick would do. So keep going down the draft. Let's do a little bit of see what we've got already in the stable. A little rundown and recap before we enter round 5. We traded out of the 1st round, picked up 2 2nd rounders from Jacksonville and the first pick in the 4th round. Got us Zaven Collins and Landon Dickerson in the 2nd round. 3rd round, we've got Tanaloa Hufunga and Ronnie Perkins. 4th round, we've got James Hudson and Keith Taylor. And now we're going to enter the 5th round. And we pick at pick 13. Now we're looking for a receiver here. We're looking for some more offensive line. And whatever else can be there, perhaps a quarterback if we like him. Looking for a guard. Speaking of guards, Jack Anderson is at the top of the board right now. But I think there's some more guards if we go down a little bit later, but we might end up swinging back and taking him. We like Kendrick Green out of Illinois a lot as a guard. Tommy Kramer is 2nd there. So let's go ahead and just take a look down the board and see if we find anything we like that better than Jack Anderson at that spot. Jarrett Patterson is a great little running back out of Buffalo. It's there. I think I want to look for a receiver here and just see who's at the top of the receiver board. So we don't want to go too low for receivers here. But I don't see anybody. I know the kid I want, but he's way down. I can get him in the 7th round, which there's no way in reality I'd be able to get him in the 7th round. So maybe I take him right about here because this is where he'll probably go. That's smart. That way we're not screwing ourselves with, where guys are actually at. So we're going to take Tyler Vaughns out of USC. Wide receiver 3. Catch some tape on him if you will. Highly underrated. Highest I've seen him go is like 2nd round in some mocks. But most mocks have him in the 3rd, 4th round. So now we're at pick 16 in the 5th round. And now we're starting to really look at some more offensive line or defensive line help because we haven't hit the defensive line at all so far. and now we're kind of down lower. Asa Odigizua is there, and I think of all the defensive linemen that have high upside left, he's the only one left. So let's take him out of UCLA. Asa Odigizua, some people say. I just call him Odigizua, Nigerian name. Okay, so now we're at pick 24 in the 5th round, and I want to try to trade, see if I can get a lower 5th and get a couple 7th. So let's call up the Denver Broncos, because George Payton's down there now, and he has to know how much Rick loves his 7th round picks. All right. So they have pick 9, pick 11, and pick 25 in the 7th round. I want to take 11 and 25 from them. 11 and 25 from them. I also want a low 5th round pick if they have it, and they don't. They just have a 6th and a 7th. So let's see if we can maybe get them to give me those two for pick 24 in the 5th. No, it's not enough. Let's try one more thing. Let's add, just to make it work, let's add a future 6th rounder. Okay, so they take that. So we trade pick 24 in the 5th for 2 7th rounders, and now we have 4 7th rounders, which sounds about right. And we move on to the 6th round, where we have pick 15 and pick 39. All right, let's go ahead and start the show. All right. So we've covered safety. What it's telling me I need now is an edge player. It's telling me I need a quarterback, a guard, a tight end, and a running back. We got our edge player, although Perkins is labeled as a linebacker on this board. We've got him already. Our guard is basically Dickerson, so we don't need to worry about that. It would be nice to get another one, though, just to have a tight end. I could see us using that. So let's see what's left on the guard table. I think our kid from Illinois is probably still there. Yeah, Kendrick Green out of Illinois. We're going to go and take him. So we've solidified what we think is the offensive line with a guard, a center guard, and a tackle. To add to what we already have, if there's a tackle in the 7th that we like, we'll go ahead and maybe try to take him. But as of right now, we're going to basically the 7th round. We're going to 6th round pick 39. And we might need to get us maybe some more help on the edge. We'll just see who's there. Kenny Yebo out of Ole Miss is a tight end, and I think that'll be that 3rd tight end unless he can rise on the depth chart. We're going to take Kenny Yebo out of Ole Miss with that last pick in the 6th round. Okay, so now we're to Rick Speilman zone. Now, we talked a little bit on the last Purple People Eaters podcast about how we feel about the strategy of collecting 7th rounders to beat the UDFA market. And we found out, I think there was 6 of 23 players we actually could recognize their names. The rest of them really made no impact. So we're not a big fans of this, but we know that Speilman does it, so we're going to include it in the mock draft here. So we're going to go all the way to 7th round, pick 11, and then we have 11, 15, 19, and 25 in the 7th round, where we'll probably try to find a quarterback. We're probably going to try to find another tackle or a guard, whoever sticks out. Probably going to try to find a running back if we can, and whatever else is kind of flying in the wind there. Trayvon Grimes is there at Florida, but he'll be really not there. So let's try to see what's up at quarterback. Jump on it if we can. So right now the board is pretty slim. We got C.J. Costello, Felipe Franks, Ian Book, Zach Thomas, Peyton Ramsey, Zach Smith, Mike Collins, Kevin Thompson, Sawyer Smith, Brady Davis. Not a lot there. We like Ian Book, but we can get him later. If we're going to take a quarterback, let's go ahead and get him later. Let's look at offensive tackles. Who's there still? Van Lalen's there. Stone Forsythe is there. Kid out of Fresno State, Tutelli. Robert Jones out of Middle Tennessee is there. Matt Womack out of Bama is there. So we like what we have, and they're also very low down. Let's look at edge rushers who's still there. 7th. Patrick Johnson out of Tulane. Ellerson Smith will be our pick out of Northern Iowa. Let's go ahead and get him right now. Linebacker / edge rusher athlete. We'll figure out what we're going to do with him in training camp. Now we're at pick 15. We're going to go ahead and take a look at safeties that are left, because we need depth. Jamar Johnson, Tyler Coyle, Joshua Bledsoe, Brady Breeze. Christian Uphoff is down there, and I'm not going to take him. I would, but he's going to go before that, thanks to this board. Let's look at defensive line. We've only touched it once. Let's see what we have. We've got an ambulance going by, so hold for that. We've got Elijah Ponder, Brian Goodson, LaRon Stokes, Jordan Scott, Forrest Merrill. Nobody that really sticks out to you. I do like Kyrie Campbell out of Florida. So let's figure out who we're going to take with this pick here. Is there a fullback in the play? Not really. Is there kickers in play? Not really. Okay, so let's go ahead and take quarterback Ian Book out of Notre Dame right here. Some more quarterbacks to see if we can find one that possibly has a future. All right, so we got pick 19 and pick 25 left. And I'm looking offensive line with these two picks. Let's look at the edge right now. Patrick Johnson's still hanging there, kind of tempting me. Like a raw sort of guy you could bring in and let Patterson do what he does. Let's take Stone Forsythe is there. Let's take the kid. I'm not loving on any of these tackles really, but it's the 7th round. What do you expect? I think you got to take a guard here. Royce Newman is there. Tristan Haug is there. Nolan Laufenberg is there. David Moore out of Grambling is there. I think let's take David Moore out of Grambling. I think he's got some upside to him. I think there's people talking outside my door right now if you're catching that on the mic. Okay, so we got round 7, pick 25. It's the last pick of the draft. We've taken a quarterback. Let's look at running backs here and see what's out there. Chris Evans out of Michigan to me is kind of intriguing. Spencer Brown is sort of intriguing there. Lots of running backs here. Lots of running backs. Mekhi Sargent out of Iowa is here. Stevie Scott out of Indiana. I think I'm going to take Chris Evans out of Michigan as a running back. 7th round, last pick of ours, pick 25. But just go back and look at the big board quick and see if we can find anything. His running back is not a huge need, and they're quite easy to find. We could find somebody in undrafted free agency. Nick McLeod, Nick Eubanks. Should we take Patrick Johnson since he's been sitting on our minds for a while, another edge rusher? And I kind of think we're good at edge rusher. I mean, we've got on the opposite side of Daniil, you've got Wanham, you've got Willikis. We've now taken Ronnie Perkins. You've got some players there that could possibly fill the hole. So let's keep looking just quickly at anybody that sticks out to us, and if not, we'll go ahead and probably take the edge rusher out of Tulane. Let's do that. Pass up on Chris Evans. Take the edge rusher out of Tulane. Patrick Johnson. We've just taken him. Okay, so we've got some decent defensive athletes here. Let's run through the rest of the 7th round, and then we'll go ahead and recap and talk about what we've done here a little bit. Okay, so 7th round is completed. I like this draft. It's obviously people are going to have some issues with trading out of the first, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if you can get a couple 2nd-round picks, which is what we got. And I think it's pretty smart thing to do because number one, you're getting the first pick in the 2nd round, so that's like the it's equal to a first rounder in a sense. It's the 33rd pick, just one behind the Tampa Bay Bucks, who won the Super Bowl. And I think you got a good player. So at that pick, we got Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. I think he's a replacement in training for Anthony Barr, or a replacement if Barr gets hurt. I think he fits well with Kendricks. I think that's a great pick. Pick 1 in the second round. Pick 13, you help your offensive line, interior of your offensive line, with Landon Dickerson out of Alabama. He can play center. He can play guard. Let's hope Bradbury plays well and we can put Dickerson at one of the guard positions. Pick 14 in the third round, we took my favorite safety in the draft, and I think probably one of my top 5 players in the draft, Tanaloa Hufanga out of USC. Find some tape on this kid. Watch him. I think you'll like him as much as I do. Pick 26 in the third, we took Ronnie Perkins, an edge rusher out of Oklahoma. Quick, fast, just kind of what we want on the other side of Danielle Hunter. Pick 1 in the fourth round, we take James Hudson, a tackle out of Cincinnati, 6'6", big kid, good feet. If you're going to go for a tackle in round 4, I think that's a really good pick. In round 4, pick 14, we take Keith Taylor, a cornerback out of Washington. Obviously, our cornerback room took a huge hit with what happened to Gladney. Now, that doesn't mean he won't play this season, but he's going to be in some legal trouble. Probably stressed out a little bit. And, considering what the reports are that he did, stresses the least of his worries. Then we've got pick 13 in the fifth round. We take Tyler Vaughns out of USC as the third wide receiver, and I couldn't be happier about that. Watch some tape on Tyler Vaughns. I don't know why he's not. Probably because there's so many receivers in this draft, but definitely a steal there. Pick 16 in the fifth round, we get Asa Odigizua out of UCLA. Defensive line, 3-tech, big kid. Pick 15 in the sixth round, we take Kendrick Green, a guard out of Illinois. He can also play tackle. He's got some versatility there. Great pick in the sixth round. We take a tight end out of Ole Miss, Kenny Yebo, at pick 39 in the sixth round. And then we go on to the seventh round, the famous seventh round picks, which we traded to get. Moved back in the fourth, I believe, and moved back in the fifth. We traded out of a fourth-round pick and out of a fifth-round pick that we acquired from the trade of the fourth-round pick to end up with 4 seventh-round picks. And now we have Ellerson Smith, an edge rusher, or basically an athlete out of northern Iowa, saw him at the Senior Bowl. He's either an outside linebacker like Barr or an edge rusher. If he's going to be an edge rusher, he'll need to add weight. We take Ian Book, quarterback out of Notre Dame. If you're not familiar with Ian Book, possibly you haven't been watching college football. And I don't expect him to be a starter. I think he's got potential. Let's see how he does. Bring him into camp. Let him compete. See what happens. Seventh round pick 19, we take guard David Moore out of Grambling. Kind of help the offensive line. Now he's more of a shorter, quicker, thicker type of guard. So I think it's worth giving him a shot. Scheme fit for sure. And we can always use depth, as we all know, on the offensive line. And then to finish it out, 7th round, pick 25, we take another edge rusher, Patrick Johnson, out of Tulane, long, lanky. He's the kind of guy that we end up with a lot with his traits physically. So I'm not disappointed in this draft at all. I think it fills a lot of the needs. I like the trades that we made. I thought that we got a lot of value where we needed to get the value, and I think if it went down this way, I certainly wouldn't be unhappy. I think trading out of the first round is probably something we should all be looking at as a possibility, because I think there's some more value to be had. Now, if we would have stuck at pick 14, I would have probably got AVT there, although we didn't know we would have got him in the second if we held on. I maybe would have went for a tackle like Darisaw if he's there. I would have went for Barmore if he was there. Would have went for Kwity Paye if he was there. I would have went for one of those players, whatever else tackle was out there. But I thought the value of moving down and picking up 2 early second rounders really paid off there. So that's the draft 2.0 mock draft. Purple People Eaters podcast. Again, you can find this podcast anywhere you find your podcast. iHeartRadio, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Home base for this one in particular is Spotify under Living in Loserville. You can find Living in Loserville also on Instagram. Chris and I do the show. That's Chris Carlson from Rope-A-Dope Radio. So we will definitely look forward to having you guys listen to that show. I think we're going to do another draft show a couple weeks from now to preview the draft. And then we'll definitely do post-draft show, give out some grades and so on. And then coming up this week, we're doing a show on our Living in Loserville show about basketball. So we're going to catch up with the Timberwolves, check out what's going on with the Gophers, and our feelings about that. A lot has changed with Finch coming into the Timberwolves and Ben Johnson coming into the Gophers. So with that, I bid you a good night and take care. Peace.
Whatever you're funny, Peacock's got it exclusively. Bears beats The Office on Peacock. Stream every moment from Dunder Mifflin and explore bonus extras and exclusives. Plus, if you're looking for more classic hits, you can stream every episode of Parks and Recreation, 2.5 Men, and every season of SNL. In the mood for something brand new? Check out Peacock's original comedies, The Amber Ruffin Show, and Saved by the Bell. Whether you're craving a new binge or familiar fave, you can find tons of comedy hits on Peacock. Get started for free at peacocktv.com.
Are you a gig worker or self-employed? Womply has helped over 100,000 small businesses get a PPP loan. You may qualify for up to $41,000 in 100% forgivable loans. The program ends soon and funds are limited. Apply now at womply.com/apply. That's WOMPLY.com/apply.